director, sharing the creative endeavors of people of color. I'm your host, KB, and today we speak with Musa Brooker, a supervising director and adjunct professor for animation whose past projects include Celebrity Deathmatch, The Simpsons, Elf, Robot Chicken, Bratz, a variety of commercials such as Honda, Target, Mucinex, as well as Blackish, Atlanta, and The Boys, among others. How are you today, Musa?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for asking. So let's start with the basic before we dive into everything.
hmm hmm
What is a supervising director?
Well, a supervising director is, you know, like a lot of titles, things can vary from show to show, project to project. In my experience, supervising director is a director who is. I should have thought about this one bit more.
It's okay.
A supervising director is the director of the show or project that usually is the chief creative in terms of animation or an animation production. So on the show that I'm on right now, it's a brand new show. And so I've been brought on at the very beginning to work with the show creators and the head writers and the producers of the show to figure out the best version of the show visually with the design of characters, taking the lead from the showrunners, deciding the tone of the show, and really sort of working as part of the creative leadership to develop and supervise the show. So in some cases, sorry, this is a little bit of a long-winded answer. In
It's
some
okay.
cases, the supervising director directs episodes themselves. In other cases, they don't. In the case of this particular project, I will be directing quite a few of the episodes myself, and then also supervising other directors who come onto the project and direct episodes. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And how did you get started?
As a supervising director or just in my career in general?
Your career in general.
Well, I always wanted to work in animation since I was about 5 years old. So I knew that very, very early on. And so just always sought out opportunities to learn about animation, to find out about animation, the history of animation, different kinds of projects. But without going too far back, I went to school. I went to undergrad for animation at the University of the Arts, and I got hired right out of school from Career Day, and I've been working in animation ever since. So I've been very, very fortunate. There's a lot of ebbs and flows in the field, but I've been fortunate enough that my entire adult working life, I've been working in the animation industry.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's not too bad, yeah.
Did you ever consider going into another industry besides animation?
I really did not with any seriousness. My father was an artist. He was a painter, fine artist, and professor as well. And so art was always part of my world. But as I mentioned, when I was about 5 years old, I knew that I wanted to work in cartoons and animation. So really, just have pursued that for my whole life. And so yeah, not really. I this is kind of what I've always wanted to do. So.
Lovely. And you have an incredibly wide variety of different types of work across the entertainment and marketing industries. How did you find so many opportunities like this? And how does it feel always jumping between different pipelines and workloads based on the project?
That is a good question. I sometimes wonder myself how I found so many of the great opportunities or projects that I've had a chance to work on. I'd say it's been kind of a combination of luck. There's been a lot of luck in my career. I think there's a lot of luck in any in life, really, but in any creative field, especially. I've been very fortunate to meet some of the right people at the right times, and lucked into that. But I also think there's been a lot of hard work because animation is my passion and not just what I do. And it's what I've always wanted to do. I work really hard at it, and I always try to push myself, challenge myself, grow a little bit with each project. So there's some of that. I think hard work often pays off. Not always, but often pays off, especially when you combine that with a little bit of luck. And I also try to play well with others. And, animation art form, a very collaborative medium. And it's possible to do it all alone, but it's much harder to do it all alone. So I try to be respectful of others and know that it's a collaborative medium and work in the teams that I work with. I want to establish relationships and friendships that will allow me to continue to work with those people and on those projects. One of the things that I know that I was told when I was an undergrad was, these people that you're with in school, you may be working with them for much of your career. So, know how to play nice. And so I think that's really important, not just because I want to work with people that are like-minded. Some of it is just the idea that when you find people that you like working with and they like working with you, they continue to want to work with you. So many of the projects that I've been on have been because of relationships that I've established with people or people have established with me. And so those continue to be fruitful throughout my career. In fact, the project that I'm on right now, I was recommended to that project from a producer who hired me as an intern on the project many, many years ago. Yeah. And she actually produced my first, my solo directorial debut, a short film. And she happens to be at a studio and they were looking for directors and she recommended me. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It is part of, having a successful career is establishing those friendships, establishing those connections and really keeping up with those people. And when people like working with you, they'll call you again and again. So that's a large part of why I've been able to get onto the projects that I've been on. But like I said, a lot of it really it's just on luck.
And just going off of different types of projects as far as like the pipeline goes and scheduling and such, I imagine doing like a 30-second commercial spot versus like a segment in a movie or a TV show would be drastically different. Do you find it a bit of a sudden like challenge or shift when you have to quickly jump over to one direction or another, or is it easy enough for you to adjust?
It can be a challenge for sure. I think it's a little bit easier now because I've done it so often throughout my career. But I think for me, that's one of the fun things about working in animation is one of the things I love about the art form is just the diversity of the art form. So, whether it's different kinds of designs, literally different kinds of techniques, CG versus 2D versus stop motion, the kinds of stories that it can tell, animation isn't a genre, it's a medium and it's an art form. And so there's a lot that can be done. And that's part of what I love about the art form is that you can do so many different kinds of things. And it can be a challenge, but it's also a fun challenge. I like challenges. I want to be challenged. It's how you grow, it's how you learn. And so I was just on a stop motion commercial as animation director. And it was the first time I'd done that in about 3 years. And it was a challenge, but it was fun. It was great to work with people that I knew before and obviously make some new friends as well. And I'd been out of the immediate, I teach stop motion, but I'd been out of stop motion production for a few years. So it was fun. I felt a little bit rusty at first, but it was great to dive back in and ended up being a really fun and really meaningful, fruitful project for me. So it can be a challenge. There's always something new to learn. I just directed my first CG work, which also was a challenge. And I'd done CG much earlier in my career, but I'd never directed it before. So it was really exciting to sort of jump in and relearn some things and take what I'd learned from other medium and other projects into that field. Directing is directing. And as long as you have a vision and understanding of what you're trying to achieve, there's always going to be people there to assist you and help you and collaborate with you to get the project done.
And what made you want to work as an animation professor?
That is a good question as well. Both my parents were teachers. My mom's a retired school teacher. My father was an art professor for my whole life. And so actually two of my grandparents were teachers. So teaching is in my genes, it's in my blood. And so that's part of it. And part of it was that I wanted to be able to share the love that I have for the medium and the excitement that I have to work in it and some of the skills and techniques that have helped me in my career. I think when you love what you do, you want to share that with people. And so that's part of it. But also helping give opportunities to people like opportunities were given to me, and sort of it's a way of kind of paying back the industry or academia or the art form in some sort of weird way. But I really love animation. I love working in it and creating it. I love the people, and I want to share that knowledge and that excitement and that love and the experience. It hasn't always been easy, of course, but I want to help make it easier for other people and benefit from what I've learned. And I guess that's part of it also, just wanting to share that and help others do the things that I love doing.
I am curious. I'm curious about two things. So, specifically, an adjunct professor. I'm not familiar with that term. Do you mind going into what that means?
Sure. Basically, it just means it's a part-time professor. So I'm not a full-time faculty member. And that's largely because I work during the day on various projects. So I still get to teach. Currently I teach one class a semester. So I get to teach in the evenings, one night a week at USC. And adjunct really is just a little bit of a fancy way of saying part-time. So, it's full-time professors have a certain workload, a certain amount of classes, and a certain amount of other responsibilities at a university. And they can be tenure tracked or non-tenure tracked. Tenure track just means they are, once you earn tenure, unless something goes horribly wrong, you are free to continue your career at that institution for your life, really, until you decide to retire. So adjunct faculty are generally, as far as I know, not tenure track positions. I'm on a contract basis, semester to semester. I've been doing it for quite a long time now. This is my 14th year at USC. So,
congrats!
Thank you. I've been doing it for a while. There, I taught for 3 years prior to that at CalArts, my alma mater. But yeah, adjunct's just a fancy way of saying part-time. So I don't have some of the other responsibilities that full-time faculty have in terms of being on different committees and having to organize different things on campus. I basically have the responsibility of the classes that I teach. So I'm on campus for those classes, and any office hours that I have during the day, I work my regular 9 to 5 or 10 to 7 or whatever project I'm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to double check, you said that you teach stop motion.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get real personal right now.
Okay. All right, bring it.
Well, when I was in school studying animation, I specifically wanted to learn how to do stop motion. However, there was no stop motion classes. We only had 2D animation and 3D animation. And my professor said, I can't really give you any tips or tricks besides notes on your actual animation. So that doesn't include any like the rigs, the puppet build, the set build, anything like that. So without spoiling the delightfulness of your class, because everyone should sign up if they want to do it, what kind of tips would you give for someone who was in a similar position that I was in, where you want to learn stop motion, but you don't quite know how to get started with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, one of the amazing things that is very different, certainly from when I went to school, when I went to undergrad, and now, is that there's a wealth of resources out there for folks that may be in an animation program or may be in a film program or a communications program and want to pursue stop motion, but they don't have direct access to it. So there are lots and lots of books that have a wealth of information. You know, the one that I would say, if there was one book that you had to get, it's probably the Aardman book about, I think it's called Creating 3D Animation. I think that's what it's called. I should know this because it's on my recommended reading list in my class. But if there's one book about stop motion, that's probably what I recommend. But there are a variety of different books that really can help folks. There's also, of course, there are resources online on YouTube. There's lots of behind the scenes videos and tutorials from different projects and for different processes. You know, one of the things that is quite different about stop motion versus other kinds of animation, you need so much for stop motion. You need space, and you need an actual camera, and you need puppets, and you need to build sets, and you need to build things and have things to use. Whereas really at its most basic for 2D animation, you don't even need a computer, you just need a pencil and a paper, right? Obviously for CG animation, you need a computer and the software, but once you have those things, you can kind of do just about anything. It's all virtual. Stop motion is real, it's real objects, you're moving real things in the real world, so you need all those extra things and all those extra skills too. It's not just being able to draw. Drawing is important even in stop motion because you have to design things, you have to figure out what things look like. It's actually one of the things I talk about in my class quite a bit. Is a lot of times, because stop motion is so tactile and it's so much fun to build stuff and make stuff and move stuff, people just dive in and they don't always think about, well, what should this look like before I start building? But yeah, there are lots of resources, and I should have had them ready for you, but I can certainly put a short list together and pass them along to you, and maybe you can put some of those things on screen or in a video or in a link attached to the video for your viewers to see. Yeah, but there's lots of books, lots of videos. It's just, there's so much more. The internet wasn't really a thing when I got started, so it was a lot harder to find those resources. But there's a lot out there. So that's where I would start is, and the other thing that I'll say is that it's a small community. Animation is a small community, despite people think it's really large. It's a pretty small community. And then stop motion is a smaller community. Well, stepping back, film production really is a small community. And then animation is a smaller community in that. And then stop motion is a smaller community in that. And so there really aren't a lot of people that do this, you know, for a living and work in it consistently. So follow your favorite stop motion. There's a lot of stop motion folks on Instagram or on YouTube. Follow them. A lot of them are open to questions. I think that's also an incredible resource. Just reaching out to people. It's a friendly community. Not a lot of people do this, and so when people do concentrate on stop motion, it's because they really love it, and so they often want to help people that also love it or are interested and bring people into the community. I found it's a very, very generous community and helpful community to people that are getting started, and even to people that are currently working. I often rely on advice or input from other people that I know, just from the stop motion community. We like to get together, and there's all these like little connections that people have from different projects. So that community is an incredible resource on top of, you know, sort of books and the internet and other things.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course.
What does your daily routine look like?
It depends on the project. It depends on where we are in the project. The project that I'm on, the television show that I'm on right now, I just started in early October. So we're very early in the process. We're figuring out what the show looks like. The scripts are being written, and so we're in a visual development period. So largely my day right now looks like meeting with the creative team and the production team, talking with the head writers, talking with the producers, and mainly working with artists to help establish the look and the visual look of the show and the feel and the tone of the visuals, the world that we're exploring. Later on in the process, it'll be meeting with storyboard artists and launching them on different aspects of the episodes I'm working on. And because I'm on the project from the very beginning to delivering the final episodes, my day will look very different depending on when you talk to me on the project. Sometimes I'll be out with voice records. Other times I might be, like I said, working with storyboard artists or character designers or art directors. I'll also be involved in the post-production process, color correction, and sound editing, and picture editing, and all that sort of stuff. So the way that works in larger productions, especially television productions, is we use what's kind of called a waterfall schedule. It's a way of organizing the schedule of the project, and so there'll be overlapping aspects. So I may be working with storyboard artists on, the third episode I'm directing, while I'm finishing up the post-production process in the first episode that I'm directing, as well as supervising other directors and their episodes. So I'm supporting them and helping them, giving advice and input on their episodes. So it just depends. It depends on where we are in the process. Depends on the project. Every project's a little bit different. But to make a long answer longer, I really am. It's a series of meetings and meeting with other people on the team, launching them, directing them, getting input and advice from producers and executives and writers, and on a daily basis, helping to get the show up on its feet and through the process.
Wow, amazing.
Can be really fun, absolutely.
And you're teaching.
And I'm teaching, yeah. I teach just 1 night a week. I teach on Tuesdays, so I leave work just a little bit early and go to campus, teach from 7 to 10.
Oof. I mean, ooh.
It can be a long day. But it's I love it. So.
Well, that's what's important.
Yeah, and they pay me. I'm not doing.
Oh yeah, that's also good. And what are some specific roadblocks you try to watch out for just going through any of your daily tasks, either that be your supervising, directing career, your professional career, animation profession? I don't know why I'm struggling. Yeah, or like anything else that you might have ran up until this point.
Roadblocks in terms of challenges or difficult things that are happening on the project, or is that what you mean?
I'll let you define it how you please.
All right. Fair enough. My motto, or one of my mottos, I guess, is to just do the best that I can with whatever the circumstances are in front of me. I learned that from my parents, especially my father. You just have to do the best with whatever the circumstances are in front of you, whatever the resources you have. And so I try to do that on every project. I try to learn on every project. Some projects are more difficult than others. Some classes are more difficult than others. And so I just try to do the best I can, whatever the circumstances are. I try to learn so that next time I can do it better if I'm given another similar situation. I try to be open and communicative and respectful of people that I work with, people that I'm reporting to, and people that are reporting to me. I think it's important. I believe in positive reinforcements. You'd be surprised how many people do not. I think people respond to being respected. Everybody has something to bring to the process, to bring to the project. And so I try to live through that in my work and know that everybody's not going to have the same ideas as me. They can't be in my head. So I try to communicate as best I can. I'll have good and bad days like anyone. Sometimes I'm really frustrated. Sometimes I'm really elated at what people bring to the table. But I try to communicate, here's what I'm looking for, but also we're looking for what you have to bring. When I'm looking for talent on a project and hiring people, I like to hire people that I know I can depend on, but also people that have something special to bring to it. Otherwise, I would just do it myself, and I can't just do it myself. So it's a combination of treat others how you'd want to be treated, be respectful, be communicative, be open. I think it's always important to have a vision, but it's always important to be open again to what people bring, and the idea that hopefully people will make whatever your idea, whatever your vision is, even better than what you could have. That's the key to success, is hiring people that make you look good, right? And so like I try to be open, knowing that whatever's in my head is never going to be exactly what's on the screen, and knowing that if I'm lucky and we work hard, it will be better than that, because people will add to it. And so I try to allow people to add to it without deviating too much from what I understand my goal to be in terms of that project. And I think when you're open in that way and you're open to communicating, it doesn't mean that I say yes to every idea that someone might bring. And a lot of times being a director means saying no, but being open, being communicative, hopefully allows you to see those roadblocks or those challenges before they're right in your face. When you can see them coming, you can pivot. I tell my students this, I tell coworkers this. Filmmaking is just problem solving. There's a million things coming at you when you're directing and when you're working on a project. And no matter sort of what role you're on a project, if it's a storyboard artist or a colorist or a designer, there's just things that they're tasks that you have, and they're problems that you have to solve. How do I make this world look like it's melancholy? Or how do I make sure that this character reads as a happy-go-lucky character? Or how do I communicate this story when it gets tough? How do we, it could be, how do we get the performance out of this person and that we don't quite see that they're giving it to us, Or how can I get the best out of this performer or the best out of this artist? There's just all kinds of problems. And so you're just constantly having to solve them. How do I communicate the story point? What's the best angle that I can use for that? What's the best expression I can use on this character? What's the best lighting I can use in the scene to communicate A, B, or C? And so I think the more that you're open, the more that you have a clear vision, the more that you can communicate openly to people, to not be too emotional in your responses, know that everybody's working hard, know that nobody's life is on the line because this cartoon character looks this way. It's important to have some healthy perspective about what you're doing. I am so passionate about animation. I love to do it. And I work really hard, and I try to do the best I can, but I also know that no one's going to die if this, deadline isn't met. I always try to meet deadlines, right? But, nobody's life hangs in the balance necessarily because this expression is off, right? And so I think trying to approach every project that way, whether it's a large, big budget commercial or a small independent project, I think hopefully allows you to see those problems, those roadblocks, and deal with them before they get too large. There are always going to be cases where there's a fire drill and crazy stuff happens, and you got to figure it out. And you've got to figure it out right then in the moment. There's, you're hemorrhaging money or whatever, whatever the situation may be. But more often than not, it's about sort of anticipating that there will be issues. So let's be communicative. Let's establish those relationships. Let's establish that line of communication. So when something does happen, we can work together to solve it. It's not about blaming, it's about solving. And so fostering that team, fostering that environment, and working together to solve whatever roadblocks that are there is really important.
Well put. Well put.
Appreciate it.
What was your upbringing like?
My upbringing. I am West Philadelphia born and raised. Grew up in Philly. My mom still lives in the house I grew up in. Like I mentioned, my mom was a teacher. My dad was an artist and a professor. They got divorced when I think I was in middle school, something like that. So my dad remarried to my stepmom, who also worked in the arts. She was an executive at the Philadelphia Art Museum. And so all of my parents were very supportive of, of me and, wanting to pursue art. I went to a private school in Philadelphia, a Quaker school, Friends School, and that taught me a lot. Gave me a good education, but it also taught me a lot about helping others and service, community. That was a big part of my education there. Pretty firmly middle class. I went to a private school, but on payment plan. I always knew what I wanted to do. My parents were supportive of that, and I spent equal time with both parents after they got divorced, and so fortunate to have both of them in my life, and my stepmom as well. I have a sister who I used to call my baby sister, but she's a grown woman now. She's not a baby anymore. So we have same dad, different mom, and she was in kindergarten when I was in 12th grade. So we were basically only children, right? She's 13 years younger than me. So yeah, she's a big part of my life now. And what did you ask again? What was my life growing up? Yeah. So yeah, that's the bulk of it. I love Philadelphia. It's my hometown. It'll always be my hometown. But I have lived in LA for over 20 years now. So, but I just knew what I wanted to do. So I used to take a lot of art classes, a lot of drawing classes, a lot of animation workshops in high school. Any project growing up, all of my school age years, I'd always find a way to work animation or comics or cartoons into it. I remember I did a report in music class, and it was about the music of cartoons. I always found a way just because I loved it so much, and I knew what I wanted to do. And then I went to college at University of the Arts in Philadelphia as well, and made some lifelong friends there. I still have lifelong friends from high school. I have friends from kindergarten and made a lot of lifelong friends in college, and had a great experience, and then started working right out of college. So I've been very blessed. That's a kind of a cliche word these days, but I'm very fortunate in my life and career. Had like everybody's life, there have been ups and downs and hard times and struggles and strife, but overall my life has been pretty great, and my upbringing was pretty great. Sort of helped me become the man I am today. Yeah.
Lovely. And I'm just curious, was there a particular animation, like show or movie or something that you saw when you were 5 years old that inspired your entire life?
I don't know if there's a single one. It's just been I'm just so steeped in animation. I don't think there's been a single one, but of course.
Top three.
What's that? Top three. Oh, that's
top
hard.
Three. Let's do top three.
That's hard. I think because I've been so involved and so connected to animation for so long, I have different top threes for different times in my life. Different artists that I admire or follow, whose work I fell into or found out about. Certainly, when I was young, it was Disney animation, and just sort of the life and career of Disney, and I remember I did a report on the life of Walt Disney in fifth grade. So that was he was a big influence. Whoever he was personally, just his the studio and the sort of the influence that he's had on animation is just a big influence on me. But Warner Brothers as well. Chuck Jones, Fritz Freleng. Loved Looney Tunes growing up. Loved Tom and Jerry. Big Hanna-Barbera fan. I love their classic TV stuff, but love their Tom and Jerry shorts.
You gotta say Tex Avery for my sake.
Oh yeah,
you gotta say
Tex
Avery.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember. I actually, when I was, I don't even think it was high school. It might have been junior high. There was a special, I think it was American Masters on PBS that was about Tex Avery, and I remember recording that on VHS and watching it over and over and over again. So Tex Avery is a huge influence, and I got even more into him as I got older and sort of saw the sophistication and the humor. And as it's one thing to understand it as a kid, it's another to like just his storytelling and his timing and his the incredible influence that he had, despite the fact that most people don't know who Tex Avery is. They know his influence on cartoons, but absolutely Screw Squirrel and that short Screwball Squirrel is like, like he plays the record and it skips. That's just priceless stuff. And even his later stuff, Symphony and Slang, is just amazing. But yeah, Tex Avery. And then as I got older, I learned more about UPA and the influence that they had, and the Hubleys and independent animators and abstract animators, Oscar Fischinger and Lynn Lai and Norman McLaren and just Bill Plimpton, independent animators who, when I was in junior high and high school, that was the era of the traveling animation festival. And so I would go to these independent theaters and watch just a series of shorts that were made by independent animators. And I loved animation, but that wasn't playing on TV. So it was like this other aspect of animation that broadened my appreciation and understanding and love of the medium, because it was so different. I still love, Disney cartoons and Tex Avery cartoons and, Hanna-Barbera classic TV stuff. But this was a different aspect, a different side of the same thing. And I still appreciate all the aspects, other sides of the medium, and how diverse it is, and how there's so many different things that you can do with it. So and in college too, that also grew my love of even like Ralph Bakshi and even though he's obviously a controversial figure to some degree, but just it was a different thing, a different kind of animation, different expression of the medium. And then Richard Williams and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I mean, that came out, I think I was in high school, maybe junior high, when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. It blew my mind. And it's like just amazing. But also I remember loving and growing up and watching Ray Harryhausen movies and Gumby and then discovering about Jan Svankmajer and Yuri Trinka and all the the amazing stop motion world. And I remember we took a field trip in college to see Nightmare Before Christmas that came out when I was in college, and it totally blew my mind. I didn't think that I would be pursuing stop motion necessarily. I always loved stop motion. I loved doing it. I used to make my own puppets, but I didn't necessarily think I'd be pursuing that. And so, cut to a couple years later, and that's what I was doing and what I did for 20 years, working in stop motion. Discovering George Pal, my dad took me to see the Puppet Tube movie at the TLA in Philadelphia, Theater of the Living Arts in Philadelphia, which is near where we lived. And I just couldn't believe I'd never seen anything like that. That kind of stop motion, that kind of replacement stop motion. And then learning about it later, just the process was amazing. So it's hard for me to pick, even a top three. I genuinely love the medium, the ability that we have to bring things to life, to tell stories, to emote and express, and even beyond, it's all storytelling, but even beyond characters, just abstract paintings and whole abstraction. I love Lynn Lai's work. It's amazing drawing on film and painting on film. It's just another aspect of the medium. It's all part of the same spectrum. It's all part of the same continuum. And I just have such a healthy respect and admiration for all kinds of artists in the medium. I mean, and also, CG stuff. In those festivals, I remember seeing like Knick Knack, the Pixar short, and before they had done any features, and the Tropicana commercials that they used to do. I just love animation. And so I'm nerding out right now, just missing. But like, I just love it. I love it. It's my passion. And so it's hard. It's like, I don't have any kids, but it's like, pick your favorite kid. I don't know. I like all my kids, so I just love animation. And so, there are films that I don't like, and there are filmmakers that I'm not the biggest fan, but I just love the medium. And so to see all these different facets and executions and techniques and stories that can be told with this amazing art form that connects to people and connects people all over the world and from different cultures and different languages, I don't know, it's just amazing. So it's hard to pick one. Did I mention Chuck Jones?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. What do you feel are the next steps in your journey?
You got a lot of good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I am really excited to be on the project that I'm on right now, and to be on a primetime show and helping to develop that and direct 22 minutes of animation for multiple episodes. That's really exciting. I would love, without hopefully sounding too ambitious, I would love to create a show. I have a number of different creative collaborators and writers, creative writing partners that I work with, and we've pitched a couple of shows. I just pitched a show with one of my writing partners 2 weeks ago, or last week. Was that last week? I think that was last week. That's really exciting, to not just to help facilitate somebody else's show or vision, but to have a large stake or large part of it myself. That would be a really exciting next challenge to create, develop, and sell a show. So I've been working towards that. And I, hopefully I'll get the opportunity in the not too distant future to also direct a feature. I would love to do that. Love to work in a longer medium. I've done a lot of commercials and music videos and short films, and animated on a lot of segments, or directed a lot of segments of television. But I love the idea of being able to tell a much longer story, whether that's through a series or through a feature, to be able to tell a single story over in a larger chunk. That's really exciting. And again, just speaks to the breadth of the medium. It's so fun to tell a really short 15, 30-second story, but it's another kind of challenge to tell a longer form story and keep people engaged and interested and entertained over the course of a much longer period.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So now it's time for rapid questions, where I'm going to just ask you a series of questions, and you're going to answer as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
I don't know if I am, but I'll give it a shot.
All right, here we go. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping a secret?
I'd say 8.5, 9. It may be, I'd say 8.5. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
I
pretty confident.
I'm pretty confident about keeping secrets. If someone tells me something in confidence, if I tell someone something in confidence, I don't want them to tell my business. So, Anyway, sorry, you said this is rapid, so I'm gonna just I'll shut up.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
And
sorry, I know that's really a bland, boring answer. But
that's okay. If it's your favorite, it's your favorite.
Ain't
nothing wrong with it. Favorite number?
7.
And coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What do you usually put in your coffee?
Nothing.
Hardcore. Dogs or cat?
Cats. 100% cats. I love dogs. Oh yeah, I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs, but I'm a cat man. It's tricky because I'm also allergic to cats. So it makes it hard. But we have, me and my partner, we have a couple of fur babies. We just lost one earlier this year, so it's been a tough year. Barnaby Jones, but his brother Dexter is still running around driving us crazy. So.
Oh, well, that's very precious. I know Barnaby Jones definitely had a lovely life.
He did. He was a very special little guy. Absolutely.
Oh.
There was something that we were talking about though when you mentioned dogs and cats. What was your last question? Before the dogs and cats?
I think coffee or tea, and that you don't put anything in your coffee because you're hardcore.
Yeah, well, I don't know how hardcore I am, but I used to like my coffee like to taste like coffee ice cream. So I used to put a lot of sugar and a lot of cream in it, and I've just grown into I just love strong black coffee, nothing else. Sorry, I keep slowing you
Okay.
down for the
No,
rapid.
no, no, you're fine. Do you have a preferred roast?
Not really. My girlfriend and I, we order online that has a really slightly spicy, really nice dark roast, really rich roast. So the name of the brewers, I'm forgetting it, but it's great coffee.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long can you hold your breath for?
I don't know. Should we try? I don't.
What?
I've done those tests before, like online, where you see, and I have pretty good breath control. I can hold it for pretty long, but I don't know off the top of my head.
That's
And
okay. I don't
I
even
have to
think I
try it
do.
if you want to.
What's something you could eat for a week straight?
For a week straight, probably Mexican food.
Mm.
A lot of variety there. Or sushi maybe. Love sushi.
Very nice. You got good taste.
That's what I tell myself.
Give me a word that starts with the letter. We'll go with V and no names.
No names. Verisimilitude.
Okay, that works.
You said V, right? V is in.
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
You caught me off guard with the amount of like. Usually everyone's so unsure when they say an answer, and you came in with like confidence yet again. It threw me off.
That's a great word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm just curious. I usually end on that one. I'm just curious. Can you say a word in Spanish?
Can I say a word in Spanish? Any word?
Any word.
Uh, Hablo.
Nice.
I took Spanish 1 and 2 in high school, but I don't speak it. But I love the Spanish language. It's one of the things that I wish that I did now was speak another language in Spanish specifically. So I may take a class because it's important. Speaking different languages is important.
Thank you so much, Musa, for speaking with us today. Or Muse, sorry.
That's
Thank you
okay.
so much, Musa. I'm supposed to be better than this. Thank you so much, Muse, for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure. Do you have any social media you would like to share with us?
Sure, yeah. People can follow me on Instagram. What's my handle again? It's my name spelled out phonetically at MOOSAYBROOKER. I think I misspelled it when that's probably the best place to follow me.
Thank you, the listener, for tuning in. If you're interested in supporting Creating in Color, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and tell your friends and family about us. If you're interested in following me, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Maybe It's KB. Thanks to Namikaze for creating the ending theme. You can find more of his music on his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Namikaze. That's NAMIKAZE. If you're interested in supporting Creating in Color financially, consider a one-time or monthly donation through our PayPal or Coffee account, coffee.com/creatingincolor, or purchasing Creating in Color merch on Star Rain Studio. Links available via our link tree. Before we wrap up, do you have any departing words of wisdom for everyone listening?
Departing words of wisdom. I think if animation is something that you want to do, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, and pursue it with passion and respect and love and work really hard. It's never too late. If it's what you want to do, it's never too late to change your mind. I've been really fortunate to make a decent living over the course of my adult life, working in something that I love. And it's a great way to express yourself and to pay your bills. And I guess just play nice with others and just do the best that you can with whatever you're doing. I think that's the key to a successful career. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Well said. Thank you so much. This has been Creating in Color. Keep striving, keep crying. Don't cry. Please don't cry.
It's okay to cry. You can cry.
It's okay to cry, though. Don't worry. Feelings are good. Feel them. Keep striving, keep trying, keep creating. Bye.